part of me that thinks Icelanders might not be the brightest of people. I mean, look at this place. It's mostly made up of barren, volcanic rock that belches, pushing the foul smell of sulfur throughout the countryside. Animals and plants have avoided this cold, hard land. And so too should have humans. But, as we all know, humans are a stupid yet wonderfully determined species. We often live where we're not welcome. Over the last 100 years, Icelanders found a way not just to survive, but to thrive. They became some of the world's best fishermen. They invented their ways out of problems. And they even found a way to turn their love of sagas, elvish folklore, and storytelling into massive businesses. This is a place where the land and a never-ending battle with nature has had a profound influence on the country's technology. Icelanders. They go about their daily lives secure in the knowledge that 100% of their country's energy is renewable. Partly thanks to this stuff. Iceland has turned its volcanoes into allies, tapping geothermal pockets to heat homes and water, and using hydroelectric dams for electricity. This energy self-sufficiency is key to Iceland's prosperity. Now, Iceland hopes to export its green energy smarts. Some clever engineers have created a funky, rugged wind turbine. It'll be used in Iceland to power isolated summer homes and remote industrial equipment, and to bring green energy to rural areas overseas. We're on the side of the highway about 20 miles outside of Reykjavik. You can see this little guy spinning around all day, powering telecommunications equipment. Back in downtown Reykjavik, there's smaller versions of this sitting on top of a bus stop. They're powering a Wi-Fi base station, an advertising board, and a smartphone recharging station. In an industrial suburb on the edge of Reykjavik, a company called IceWind has set up shop in an abandoned coal power plant to build these turbines by hand. It's run by Thor, the company's business chief, and Thor, a former nuclear engineer.
This type of turbine is called the 7-use vertical axis wind turbine.
In case you missed it, that would be a Savonius vertical access wind turbine, for all you turbine noobs out there.
Technically, it's an old technology. I mean, it dates back to the Persian Empire or something. We have taken this base design and kind of brought it to the modern age with modern materials, carbon fiber, stainless steel. We've made it really, really strong. We have engineered and cut the blades so that the turbine never goes on overspin. And we just done the system so it's really, really simple, and therefore we can keep the price down. But it also can take really, really harsh weather.
And weather is a serious problem. This is what can happen to a conventional wind turbine when excessive wind speeds hit. In Iceland, windmills can last for about 3 years before the weather does them in. The shape of the IceWind turbines allows them to function in low wind and to stop from spinning out of control in high wind. And beyond that, they just look cool.
People, when they look at it, they don't realize what it is. They just think it's a sculpture or something. They're not thinking about this as an ugly energy production device. So we started putting more emphasis on the design itself, how it looks, all the curves and stuff like that.
IceWind has trials running throughout this country and expects to begin selling its turbines worldwide later this year. Thor is anxious to test out Iceland's ingenuity on a bigger stage.
We've been isolated for a long time, and I think we're fought for a long time for several different things. And this is just part of the fighting, inventing new things and going new ways.
The truth of the matter is that unlike most people, I didn't visit Iceland to take in the countryside or find the first puffin of the season. All of that stuff was the garnish on my trip. No, I came here for urban chaos, drunken joy, and an explosion of raw emotion. I came here for the cultural phenomenon known as Eve Fan Fest. Buckle up, because things are about to get weird. Really weird. Nerds, thousands of them, make an annual pilgrimage to Reykjavik to celebrate EVE Online, a massive multiplayer online game that takes place in outer space. For 3 days, the gamers come together, dress up like their favorite characters, shop from an endless supply of swag. We should buy one of these. And get a sneak peek of what's on the horizon. There's also a massive live tournament to decide who will become one of the main rulers of the EVE universe.
We shall coronate our new leader, and the losers shall ritually sacrifice themselves.
It's not going to last for much longer here.
Trading blow for blow here in the final match.
The captain goes down.
And the winners are Tess Merkel!
Walk the halls here, and you'll quickly find yourself face to face with a wide variety of geek species. How many hours would you play a day?
I'm logged into EVE probably 6 hours a day, 7 days a week if I don't have other plans.
We're logging in at least 2 or 3 times a week and joining fleets and killing people.
It never stops, and if you miss a day, then you're gonna have to make it up the next day.
Some people who are the nicest people you've ever met are ruthless like thugs and bandits.
At its most basic level, EVE Online is a war game set in space. People build their characters from scratch, hop in ships like this, band together by the thousands to form armies, and fight battles that can take months, even years. EVE got its start back in 2003, and today it's evolved into a vast universe nearly as rich and complex as the real world, with a completely developed political system and social hierarchy. There's a complex economy too, based on billions of transactions and lots of manual labor.
All the ships, all the ammunition, all the parts, all the pieces that go onto your ship, the drones, the guns, all of that was built by someone. And since there's a lot of things in EVE, it's huge.
Before players can zoom off to battle, they must spend weeks mining materials to build ships and weapons. This Titan is one of the largest class ships. It can take 6 weeks to make and is over 8.5 miles long. Coalitions spend years obtaining their space gear, and they can lose it all with one bad decision. What's the lowest feeling you've ever had?
The lowest feeling I've ever had was losing my own Titan. But there's nothing like losing about 6,000 real-world dollars in virtual equipment, in the blink of an eye.
Most games of this type split people up into groups of a couple thousand players and give everyone missions to accomplish. Not EVE. From the outset, it's been a game where all of the players inhabit a single universe, and they collectively decide how the game should be played. This makes EVE a never-ending story, a spectacular communal experience.
So all 400,000 some odd people who play this game, we are all playing together. You get to know the same people, and we have space celebrities, we have space politicians. People know who they are.
If you're a hero or a villain in EVE, 500,000 people know your name, know your reputation, and will either try to take you down or follow you, as a result of that.
I got hostiles inbound. What's your status?
Lots of games offer people an escape, but none more so than EVE. The placid become great warriors, the shy turn into socialites. EVE is about becoming something bigger, or at least different than what you are in real life.
There will be consequences.
Dying.
Hi. Hi. My name's Charles White. I play Max Singularity on EVE Online, and the creature I am wearing is an in-game item.
Okay.
And it's called a Feto.
Okay. What's your role in the game?
Well, because I'm an older guy, I just started giving advice on the comms, and the players promoted me to the position of Pope of EVE Online, so I became the Space Pope. I give blessings. I've done 2 weddings, real world weddings. I've blessed like 6 babies already.
Our chain of command often goes the way that I believe most do. You will have
Wolfpack 10 works as a mechanic by day, but when he logs on, he becomes a fleet commander with hundreds of obedient soldiers ready to follow his orders.
I've personally led a little over 700. Some people have led thousands.
Do you feel like you have 2 lives?
I don't feel like I have 2 lives. I feel like I have one life that is very complicated. I try not to separate what I do in EVE from reality because it has an impact, and at the same time I try not to let EVE become so real that I give up things in my regular day job and my life and seeing my real world friends for a game.
It's easy to write off EVE players as obsessive online gaming nerds. Really easy. But that would do a disservice to the depth of the game and the FanFest experience.
The bonds that are made and generated, they become members of kind of like an extended family.
I've been here 4 times, and we see the same guys, and you're like, it's your buddy now, because you've been flying with him for years and coming here.
Honestly, anytime that I get to go out and just hang out with my nerd brethren, it's been pretty fun.
Do you think you'll play EVE for the rest of your life?
Probably. I don't ever imagine not playing EVE.
So there's enough in this game to keep you interested?
There are so many things I don't know at this point. Like if you ask me about wormhole space, I have no idea how it works. I know they exist. I know I can go through wormholes, but I never lived in there. I've never even seen what you can do in there. There's so much to EVE. Such a big world to be a part of.
When you're done spending a day hanging out with your fellow space warlords, there's only one thing left to do. Pub crawl. This is a tradition at FanFest. It starts at 9 o'clock, ends at 5. We'll see if I make it. Watching these gamers party with each other is something I'll never forget. But there's something so human and endearing about seeing people in their element, feeling free to express themselves. And damn it, it's hard not to join in. Having met some of the EVE players, you may have noticed a trend. The game tends to attract smart, passionate, often devious people. Managing these people is hard, sort of like herding deranged cats that have been doing lots of drugs. For 13 years, this management burden has been the job of CCP Games, the Icelandic game studio that invented EVE. Since EVE has few rules, CCP has had to work hand in hand with the players to shape the game and introduce new stuff to buy and new places to go. Some of the key input from both sides arrives at FanFest, where important things like wormhole territory get debated.
Are you concerned about how hard it is for us to roll wormholes at this point? Do you feel like it's about the right balance?
The depth of this two-way relationship is unique in the gaming industry.
Welcome to EVE FanFest 2016.
One of the key people who shaped the vision of EVE is CCP's longtime CEO, Hilmar Petersen. Hilmar is something of a philosopher when it comes to Iceland, science fiction, and the role that Eve may play in nothing less than the evolution of the human species. Why does it make so much sense that this game started in Iceland?
When you're a kid in Iceland, you develop a clear sense that the country is here to kill you. And if you don't pay attention, you're just gonna die. Where you have volcanoes and blizzards and avalanches and God knows what. You really have to band together against the elements.
Eve started out from humble beginnings. 3 young computer-savvy Icelanders raised the money to build Eve by selling a board game called Heddaspiel, or the Danger Game in English, which ended up being a smash hit. Funds in hand, they leapt from the dining room table to the stars, building a beautiful and iconic interpretation of life in space. As Hilmar sees it, Eve might now provide a roadmap for an interstellar society.
We very much think about the game as a construct to inspire the manifest destiny of mankind, which is to grow beyond this planet. So we kind of look at EVE Online, the closest thing you have today to live in space. So, and we believe by giving hundreds of thousands and millions of people that experience and that dream, we will bring closer to us the desire and drive to make it actually concretely happen.
CCP has just released a new game called Valkyrie. It's a pure blow-em-up, high-action space war game, built for the virtual reality headsets just coming to market. Investors have recently poured money into CCP, betting that it will figure out how to merge the best parts of Eve and Valkyrie, and create the first meaningful virtual social network. Where do you see all this technology heading?
What we wanted to do with Valkyrie was to do something way more immersive. Something like immediately impactful on your kind of emotional state.
Take him down, nice job, nice job. All right, S-I-N.
Eve does that differently because it's more slow-paced and methodical. It goes more to your brain than to your heart. And ultimately, the dream is to kind of merge these two concepts.
Hilmar didn't invent Eve, but this guy did. He's Rainier Harderson, one of the 3 co-creators of the game. He explained the origins of Eve to me near a monument located beside the Reykjavik Marina. It was built to honor the Eve players with their gamer handles etched into the base. All during FanFest, people come to find their names and pay homage to the game.
People feel very passionate about this, and the strange thing about it, when you log into Eve, it doesn't feel like you're playing a game. It feels like you're logging into a real world, and these people feel it too. And the reason is because it's really about human, it's about humans interacting. It's about human emotion, and whatever makes us human.
Why do you think people get all that at their jobs and then come and work another job and seek to feel that at home after?
I would say it's kind of it's in a strange, twisted way, it's an utopian, perfect world, right? It's riddled with war and strife and everything, but everyone can, aspire to be something big.
At the very end of FanFest, the Eve players and CCP employees celebrate with a raucous party at the Harpa Concert Hall. It's one final booze and heavy metal infused time together before they go home and return to the doldrums of regular life. There's a lyrical quality to so much about this place, to the way people weave stories into their daily lives, to the way in which they seem to celebrate suffering, and to the way in which they approach technology and fold it into their culture. This country is a testament to the triumph of the human will and to the power of imagination. It's the kind of place where the surroundings beg you to get lost in your thoughts and then smile deep down in your soul. As fall breaks out in Canada, I'm reminded of all the beauty, innocence, and gun-free fun available from our neighbors to the north. There's the majesty of Toronto, vast hockey rinks, and gallons of maple syrup that you can chug openly and guilt-free, for this maple syrup is pure and nourishing. The changing of the seasons also happens to be the perfect time to encounter one of Canada's most prized creatures, the artificial intelligence nerd. Ever since people first came up with the idea of computers, they've dreamed of imbuing them with artificial intelligence.
I am a smart fellow, as I have a very fine brain.
That's the most remarkable thing I've ever seen.
AI is just a computer that is able to mimic or simulate human thought or human behavior. Within that, there's a subset called machine learning that's now the underpinning of what is most exciting about AI.
By allowing computers to learn how to solve problems on their own, machine learning has made a series of breakthroughs that once seemed nearly impossible. It's the reason computers can understand your voice, spot a friend's face in a photo, and steer a car. And it's the reason people are actively talking about the arrival of human-like AI, and whether that would be a good thing or a horrific end-of-days thing. Many people made this moment possible, but one figure towers above the rest. I've come to the University of Toronto to see the man they call the godfather of modern artificial intelligence, Geoff Hinton. Because of a back condition, Geoff Hinton hasn't been able to sit down for more than 12 years.
I hate standing. I'd much rather sit down, but if I sit down, I have a disc that comes out. So,
okay. Well, at least now standing desks are fashionable. And
yeah, but I was ahead. I was standing when they weren't fashionable.
Since he can't sit in a car or on a bus, Hinton walks everywhere. The walk says a lot about Hinton and his resolve. For nearly 40 years, Hinton has been trying to get computers to learn like people do. A quest almost everyone thought was crazy, or at least hopeless, right up until the moment it revolutionized the field.
Google thinks this is the future of the company. Amazon thinks it's the future of the company. Apple thinks it's the future of the company. My own department thinks this stuff's probably nonsense and we shouldn't be doing any more of it. So I talked everybody into it except my own department.
Geoff Hinton, pretty early on, became obsessed with this idea of figuring out how the mind works. He started off getting into physiology, the anatomy of how the brain worked. Then he got into psychology. And then finally, he settled on more of a computer science approach to modeling the brain and got into artificial intelligence.
My feeling is, if you want to understand a really complicated device, like a brain, you should build one. I mean, you could look at cars and you could think you could understand cars. When you try and build a car, you suddenly discover that there's this stuff that has to go under the hood, otherwise it doesn't work.
Yeah. As Geoff was starting to think about these ideas, he got inspired by some AI researchers across the pond. Specifically this guy, Frank Rosenblatt.
Rosenblatt, in the late 1950s, developed what he called a perceptron, and it was a neural network, a computing system that would mimic the brain.
The basic idea is a collection of small units called neurons. These are little computing units, but they're actually modeled on the way that the human brain does its computation. They take incoming data like we do from our senses, and they actually learn, so the neural net can learn to make decisions over time.
Rosenblatt's hope was that you could feed a neural network a bunch of data, like pictures of men and women, and it would eventually learn how to tell them apart, just like humans do. There was just one problem. It didn't work very well.
Rosenblatt, his neural network was a single layer of neurons, and it was limited in what it could do, extremely limited. And a colleague of his wrote a book in the late 60s that showed these limitations. And it kind of put the whole area of research into a deep freeze for a good 10 years. No one wanted to work in this area. They were sure it would never work.
Well, almost no one.
It was just obvious to me that it was the right way to go. The brain's a big neural network, and so it has to be that stuff like this can work because it works in our brains. There's just never any doubt about that.
Now, what do you think it was inside of you that kept you wanting to pursue this when everyone else was giving up, just that you thought it was the right direction to go?
No, that everyone else was wrong.
Okay. Hinton decides he's got an idea of how these neural nets might work, and he's going to pursue it no matter what. For a little while, he's bouncing around research institutions in the US. He kind of gets fed up that most of them are funded by the Defense Department, and he starts looking for somewhere else he can go. He suddenly hears that Canada might be interested in funding artificial intelligence.
And that was very attractive, that I could go off to this civilized town and just get on with it. So I came to the University of Toronto. And then in the mid-80s, we discovered how to make more complicated neural nets so they could solve those problems that the simple ones couldn't solve.
He and his collaborators developed a multi-layered neural network, a deep neural network. And this started to work in a lot of ways. But again, they hit a ceiling.
Through the 90s, into the 2000s, Jeff was one of only a handful of people on the planet who were still pursuing this technology. He would show up at academic conferences and be banished to the back rooms. He was treated as really like a pariah. But Jeff was consumed by this and couldn't stop. He just kept pursuing the idea that computers could learn until about 2006, when the world catches up to Hinton's ideas.
Computers were now a lot faster. And now it's behaving like I thought it would behave in the mid-80s. It's solving everything.
The arrival of super-fast chips and the massive amounts of data produced on the internet gave Hinton's algorithms a magical boost. Suddenly, computers could identify what was in an image. Then, they could recognize speech and translate from one language to another. By 2012, words like neural nets and machine learning were popping up on the front page of the New York Times.
Next up, we have Professor Geoffrey Hinton of the University of Toronto.
Thank you.
For Hinton, this is obviously a really redemptive moment. Now he's basically a technology celebrity. And for Canada, it's the country's moment as well. They have more AI researchers than just about any other place on the planet, and the quest now is to see what these guys can do, starting companies and pushing the technology forward. I'm gonna set out on a journey across Canada to see the best in Canadian AI technology and to get a feel for how far the technology has come and how far it still has to go. Here is a city that gets right at the central tension of modern life and the unfolding AI revolution. It's Montreal, a place filled with beauty and old world charms that asks you to move slowly through its streets and to chill for a while, reflect, and think deep thoughts. At the same time, it's one of the world's top AI research centers. Students flock here from all over the globe to get deep with machine learning and to take Jeff Hinton's ideas and figure out how to turn them into products we all use. To see just how successful they've been, look no further than your pocket. All this stuff started out as hardcore computer science, but over the last 5 years, AI has invaded our everyday lives. Your smartphone is packed full of AI-powered apps, including something like Google Translate that lets you point your phone at a magazine that's written in French and read it as if you were a local. Engineers have been trying to get computers to translate text like this for decades, but it was Jeff's neural nets that finally made it possible. Thanks, Jeff. And it's not just your smartphone. Neural networks are heading for the open road. Off we go. Meet my friend Stefan, the head of Montreal's Tesla fan club.
I'm driving a Tesla for a little bit more than 4 years and a half.
Do you have people asking you for rides all the time?
Yes, all the time. Still without.
Maybe that's because of his fancy pants autopilot, Tesla's semi-autonomous driving system that kicks in when road conditions are right. So that's it, autopilot's on.
Yes, and it's driving by itself. So we need to pay attention, but we don't have to drive.
Yeah, it's crazy. Self-driving cars are packed full of cameras, sensors, and radar. When teamed with computer vision neural nets, it's this technology that lets the cars build a picture of the world. The technology has a long way to go, but this Tesla can monitor all the cars around it, switch lanes, and park, all by itself. Thanks, Jeff. So you were living in the future.
Yeah. You know, when you try it once, it's very difficult to do without it because I just can be relaxed and we can drive like this. Oops. There's a stop sign. So that's why we still need to pay attention.
A big part of Hinton's legacy lies beyond these examples of AI in the world. He's also inspired a legion of disciples spreading the good word of neural nets. Yoshua Bengio is a professor at the University of Montreal. He's one of the researchers who glommed onto Hinton's ideas when it seemed to make little sense to do so. Over the years, he's formed a mind meld with Hinton, and together, they've come up with many of the key concepts behind modern AI. You guys worked on this stuff through the 80s, 90s, the 2000s, and then it just seemed like this totally went from computer science and research to we see it everywhere in our lives. Are even you surprised what's happened the last 5 years that it really is like sitting on all our phones? And
the rate at which the progress and the industrial products have been coming out is totally something we didn't expect. Even now, it's hard to predict. Where are we going? Is it going to slow down? Or are we going to continue with this exponential increase?
It's thanks to Yoshua that Montreal is full of top-notch AI graduate talent. This in turn has brought tech giants like Google and Facebook to town, along with their ample checkbooks. To me, it seems like if you're good at AI, you can make $200,000–300,000 a year. It's crazy to see how much these guys get paid now.
$1 million is something quite common as a salary.
Have you ever had a country offer you an incredible amount of money to come set up a lab there?
Not a country, but yeah, companies, yeah.
But Joshua has rejected the lucrative offers of big neural net. He remains committed to the ivory towers of academia, which is a better fit for his philosophical approach to AI. You've got guys like Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking that sometimes paint this technology in a very, very dark light, that it could run amok and start doing things on its own. What do you feel when you hear people say things like that?
I'm not concerned about technology running amok. The Terminator scenario, I think, is not very credible. And I also believe that if we're able to build machines that are as smart as us, they're also smart enough to understand our values and to understand our moral system and so act in a way that's good for us. Now, I think there are real concerns, which is essentially misuse of AI to influence people's minds. It's already happening with political advertising.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen like the stuff from Facebook.
So I think we should be careful about this and try to regulate the use of AI in places where it's morally wrong, ethically wrong. I think we should just ban it and make it, illegal.
It's comforting that Joshua has these concerns. But hop down the road from the university, and reality, or what's left of it, becomes messier. This tiny room is the home to a startup called Lyrebird. It was founded by Joshua's former students and has built an app that can clone your voice.
Are you speaking about this new algorithm to copy voices? This is huge. It can make us say anything now, really anything.
One of its founders is this guy, Mexican expat Jose. He taught me the art of the clone.
So you will need to record yourself for a few minutes of audio.
Thousands of letters danced across the amateur author's screen. When you start to eat like this, something is the matter. You guys better quit politics and take in washing. I don't know where that one came from. Okay, so create my digital voice now. Creating your digital voice takes at least 1 minute. 1 minute? My God.
Yeah, so before, to create some artificial voice of someone, you would need to record yourself for at least 8 hours.
Test your voice. All right, so now I get to type something.
Yeah, so the moment of the truth.
Okay. Once Lyrebird's AI has worked its magic, after I'm done typing... Oh, gotta spell better. Any words I put into the app can be played back in my digital voice. And here's the crazy thing. Even words I never actually said in the first place. Artificial intelligence technology seems to be advancing very quickly. Should we be afraid? I mean, I can definitely hear my voice in there. That's really interesting. I just picked those words at random, and I definitely did not say some of them, and it's like flawless in being able to sort of pick from just about any word and manufacture it. Hello World is the best show I have ever seen. This technology seems sweet, but lends itself to all manner of trickery. I've popped back to my hotel to test out the Lyrebird technology a little bit, and you can see some really obvious ways that this could be abused. This is fake Donald Trump talking.
The United States is considering, in addition to other options, stopping all trade with any country doing business with North Korea.
And then you could picture somebody taking over your voice and creating some mayhem in your personal life. Now, to really put my computer voice to the test, I am going to call my dear, sweet mother and see if she recognizes me.
Hey, Mom.
Hi.
What are you guys up to today?
Well, it's we didn't have any electricity early this morning, and we're just hanging around the house.
I'm just finishing up work and waiting for the boys to get home.
Okay.
I think I'm coming down with a virus.
Oh, well, you feel bad, hey?
I was messing around with you. You were talking to a computer.
I felt like I was talking to you. It's amazing.
Is that scary or good?
It could be scary if it was something really important. But you now, is it, Ash?
I don't know.
It sounds like you.
Is it?
Yes, it sounds like him, yeah.
The real artificial intelligence weirdos in Canada live here, in Edmonton. This is a large but very, very cold and very, very flat city that is more or less in the middle of nowhere. It's the kind of place that has a giant butter vault to help people survive the lean winter months. Canadians like to put the best possible spin on how these conditions bring out interesting traits in people. Ask anyone, like this guy from the Edmonton Tourist Center.
Well, Edmonton's one of those cities that isn't, automatically listed in the top cities in Canada in terms of size or scale or notice even, but it's always had a really neat quality to it of that Western independent spirit that you see very much in Alberta in general, combined with a conscience and a thoughtfulness.
Over at the University of Alberta, some of the most far-out AI research in the world is taking place. The man I'm here to see is the university's very own AI godfather, Rich Sutton. Rich is considered one of the great revolutionary thinkers in AI. You are not Canadian?
I am Canadian.
You are, but not by birth?
No, I was born in the U.S., but now I'm just Canadian.
Okay, and what brought you to Canada?
The politics. I wanted to get away from difficult times in the United States. The United States was invading other countries in 2003 when I came here, and I didn't care for all that.
Sutton entered the field of AI in the mid-'80s, and like Jeff Hinton and Yoshua Bengio, he was a big believer in neural networks. But Sutton has a different idea about how to further the technology. Unlike Hinton's method of feeding neural networks reams and reams of data and telling them what to do, Sutton wants them to learn more naturally, from experience, an approach called reinforcement learning.
Well, reinforcement learning, it's like what animals do and what people do. You try several things. The things that work best, you keep doing those, and things that don't work out so well, you stop doing them.
And how do you teach a computer
all you need is a sense. The computer has to have a sense of what's good and what's bad. And so you give it a special signal called the reward. If the reward is high, that means it's good. If the reward is low, that means it's bad.
To see reinforcement learning in action, I found Marlos, an industrious young Brazilian who's created an AI to play his video games for him. His algorithm plays the game thousands of times and gradually learns from experience how to do better.
So the goal of this game is that you are this yellow blob, and what you have to do is that you have to get as many potions as you can while avoiding harpies.
And this is like the AI going at this for the first time?
It's the AI run it for the first time.
So it just bumps into things. If it gets points, it's happy. If it dies, it's unhappy.
Yes. And the AI starts to figure out that maybe what I want to do is to collect these potions and avoid the harpies. And now we can look at AI that has ran for 5,000 games.
Okay.
And this is what it looks like.
You can tell that it's smarter about its strategy.
Yes.
And then what happens if you run it 500,000 times?
Oh, we get to the superhuman performance level.
Though notching a high score is the noblest of pursuits, reinforcement learning has turned out to have all kinds of other applications. It's behind the algorithm that recommends movies and TV shows on Netflix and Amazon. It beat the world champion Go player, a feat previously thought impossible for a computer. Soon, it could read your brainwaves and determine whether you have a mental disorder. But for Sutton, all that is just the beginning.
We are trying to make real intelligence. We're trying to recreate human intelligence. Humans are our example.
He sees reinforcement learning as the path to what futurists call the singularity, the moment when our AI creations light up and surge past human-level intelligence.
Do you have a date for the singularity, or?
So we give you, it's a quite broad probability distribution, and the median is at 2040. So that means equal chance of being before or after 2040.
Okay.
The rationale goes like this. By 2030, we'll have the hardware. So give guys like me another 10 years to figure out the algorithms, the software to go with the hardware to do it. It's going to be exciting where we're going.
If 2040 seems like a long time to wait to meet a smart robot, do not fret. Over in the experimental wing of the university, there are co-eds hard at work blurring the line between humans and machines.
Are you human?
Of course not. But that shouldn't keep us from chatting.
Case in point, homegrown Edmontonian genius Corey Matthewson.
Tell me about this guy a little bit, or
Yeah, sure. Sure. So this is Blueberry. On Blueberry, I've deployed the improv system. So there's an artificial improv system running on Blueberry right now.
Yes, that's right. Corey does improv comedy with a robot.
I've been doing improv longer than I've been doing computing science. I've been doing it for 12 years, and I thought, there's no more natural convergence than taking some of these state-of-the-art systems and putting them up on stage.
One day we'll make it to the moon if this planet is not to be our last.
It is the sky and the moon of the universe, the sun, the sun.
The sky, the moon, and the universe! The sun! The sun! The sky, the moon!
I keep thinking it's like a ventriloquist sort of. This is like a new age.
That's a really good way to put it, yeah.
Strange twist on it.
The piece that's different is that I don't know what it will say.
Blueberry, I created you. I downloaded a voice into your brain so that you could perform in front of these people.
But I do not know what I'm going to say.
I don't know what you're going to say either.
To give Blueberry the power of surreal Canadian improv, Corey made use of some tech that should be familiar by now. A neural network. Step 1. He feeds the network the dialogue from a bunch of movies. 102,000 movies to be exact.
All the movies, every movie for 100 years.
And that's just so it can learn language, see how somebody responds to somebody else.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it builds kind of a language model.
Step 2, he uses reinforcement learning to train the network, rewarding it when it makes sense and punishing it when it spits out gibberish. Time to put this wannabe kid in the hall to the test.
There we go. Start improvising. Okay, campers, we're gonna get ready for a real baseball game. Grab your gloves and grab your baseball bats and let's get out there. Especially you, Franklin.
Of course, I will not be much longer.
Okay, well, why aren't you ready for the match?
I do not have any more good news if I were your boyfriend.
Okay, come on, Franklin. You know how I feel about you, but you gotta keep your head in the game right now.
You will see if you do not stop here when you go, what have you done?
It's threatening you.
I know.
I will teach you what the character of your team is going to do with you.
Oh, Jesus, put down the bat, Franklin. What are you doing?
You have nothing to hide, that's all.
I've got nothing to hide. Look, this is all I am. Okay, end it there.
That's great,
That's
man.
sort of how it works.
Obviously, some of the responses are a little bit weird, but then it's really funny because then as you're going along, it did hit a couple things perfectly, and then it's like,
yeah.
I mean, it's extra hilarious because now,
of course, yeah.
Now it's going.
Blueberry may not be ready for its second city audition just yet, but Corey has a higher purpose, making AI relatable.
Oh, it's gonna move, it's gonna move. Holy crap. There is fear
in society of AI. So we are kind of humanizing this AI. We're taking it down a peg. We're saying, don't be afraid of this tech. Look at how cute it is. Look at how kind of naive it is.
Yeah.
Filters. You've done it again, Blueberry. Yes.
Isn't there a flip side to that, though? Then you make it cute, and then people start to accept it, and then we wake up.
I mean, I don't think that will happen in my time.
The singularity may be near, or it may be not so near. But if the inhabitants of this oddly beautiful place keep pushing the technology, they just might create something alarmingly human-like one day. For Rich Sutton, it's not a question of whether we'll get there, but whether we'll be able to accept our mechanized brethren.
Our society will be challenged. It's just like every time, our black people, our women people, we will do the same thing with robots eventually. Are they allowed to own property? Are they allowed to earn an income? Or do they have to be owned by someone?
But a robot's obviously not a person. Right?
No.
For my last stop, I returned to Toronto, home to 2.8 million people, one very tall tower, and of course, the Godfather himself.
Inside the system, there's lots of little processors which are a little bit like brain cells. They work a little.
He may be an import, but Jeff Hinton has done something truly exceptional for Toronto. He's turned this city into an AI mecca, where AI conferences like this one seem to take place daily.
We are enormously thankful to Canadians for inventing all this stuff, because we now use it throughout our entire business.
Should never say this. We have it on record that he owes, that Google owes Canada.
We absolutely owe Canada. That was a mistake.
The tech industry is full of people who adore AI. And then also some famous types like Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking, who said, well, that AI might be the end of us. To consider such dystopia in the proper light, I've come to Toronto's geekiest bar.
Hello, George.
To encase myself in this steel container with George Dvorsky. He's a writer for Gizmodo and an AI philosopher.
Well, since we're in the apocalyptic bar, what is the con case around AI? What's the nastiest scenario that everybody's worried about?
Unfortunately, there's no shortage of nasty scenarios, and I think this is what makes artificial intelligence such a scary thing, is all the different ways that it can go wrong. It can be everything from an accident, where we just didn't think it through. We gave a very powerful computer instructions to do something. We thought we explained it articulately. We thought we gave it a concrete goal, and it completely took a different path than we thought it would, in such a way that it actually caused some great damage. And I'm sure you've heard the old paperclip example, where you're a paperclip manufacturer and you say, hey, we need lots of paperclips. And because the artificial intelligence has so much reach and so much power, it actually starts to go about converting all of the matter and all the molecules on the planet into paperclips. Before you know it, we've now converted the entire cosmos into paperclips. It's a crazy scenario, but it's an illustrative scenario. We can't be dismissive of the perils. I think that's exceptionally dangerous. And I don't think it's too early to start raising the alarm bells about it.
Being turned into Clippy sounds awful. But fear not. We'll have years to ease into that sort of suffering as AI steadily plucks off one job after another. The first to go, of course, will likely be the always screwed factory workers. Which brings us to Suzanne Gildert, a budding AI overlord and founder of robotics startup Kindred AI.
Tell me about these guys.
So these are research prototypes. So they're some of the first robots we built at Kindred. We tend to work with small robots. It's a bit like if you imagine a child growing up and it breaks a lot of things. Now imagine if the child was 6 feet tall when it had the brain of a 6-month-old. It would be terribly dangerous.
How many of these robots have ever slapped you?
I have been hit in the face by robots a couple of times.
And is that like...
Suzanne seems nice enough. She makes exotic digital art. And she loves cats to the point where she's built a robotic fleet of them for the office.
This one, I believe, is called Pinkfoot. It's a quadruped robot loosely based on a cat anatomy, although it's not a very highly faithful representation yet.
And then when you were growing up, you would build things as well?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. So I was really enthralled by electronics at an early age. I guess most little girls would be looking at trays of beads and things, and I was looking at trays of like resistors and capacitors and little components, but having the same kind of reaction to them.
But don't be fooled by the hobby electronics and the cute catbots. Suzanne is a keen businesswoman. And Kindred has recently embarked on its first commercial venture.
What's going on here is we have a bank of robots that are learning. So they are continuously running, picking up objects.
And these would run all day?
All day, all night.
Powered by a neural network, these arms can do something that's very easy for a human, but very hard for a bot. Pick up objects of different shapes and put them down. Most factories still use people to do that sort of thing. Lots and lots of people.
Today, everyone's shopping on e-commerce. Thousands and thousands of different types of objects, shapes, textures, weights. How do you pick that up? Right now, it's humans. You have millions of humans in warehouses just like picking up things and putting it into another location. So we're teaching our robots how to do that.
What's the hard part? It's figuring out what's a belt, what's a shirt, or it's just how to grasp it?
Yeah, exactly. It's figuring out how to pick it up, right? So things will show up in any shape, right? And you got to figure out how to pick it up without dropping it, put it in the location. So it takes a lot of training.
Part of that training involves, of all things, humans. Robot pilots who manually control the arms, while the AI watches and learns the finer points of grabbing.
Isn't there something grim about the human training there? And
yeah, it's not good to take people's jobs away, but this kind of technology coming into the workforce should make us start thinking about how we're going to pay people in the future, because AI is not just going to automate, manual labor jobs. It's going to automate things like doctors and lawyers and accountants very soon. So I think there's going to be issues. There's going to be a lot of disruption.
Suzanne is a realist, but she's also an optimist. In her vision of the future, robots won't be mindless competitors to humanity. They'll be full-fledged citizens like the rest of us.
one of the crazy ideas I've seen you talk about was you've got a robot and it's working in a factory and then it's got to go, maybe it gets paid a wage and it goes to buy lithium-ion batteries to keep it going. Why would that have to happen?
I mean, if you're having a physical body, they will have a lot of physical needs, just like we have. You might have to go to the repair shop to get like a motor looked at or something like that, and they'll have to pay someone to do that. I think they'll just be contributing to our economy in the same way we do. And if they have brains like us, they'll want to explore new things they've never seen before. They'll want to learn things. They'll want to perhaps rest so that their mind has time to consolidate all this new information.
I keep trying to picture it in my head, though. So this is the robot worker. Does he go home and sit on the couch and watch TV after work? And he's...
I don't see why not. I'd probably watch cat videos like the rest of us.
I mean, when you...
It's hard to tell sometimes if Suzanne is laughing with us or at us. But she's not alone in her cautious optimism for the future.
I think there's
always a sense that, technology can be either used for good or used for bad. I'm reassured that Canada is part of it in terms of trying to set us on the right path. On the whole, being responsible and thoughtful about the power we're gaining by research and learning is the right trend line. And I don't think AI is automatically doomed to some dystopian outcome.
We're told that politicians will come up with policies that address massive job loss and prevent horrific inequality between the classes. And we're told that these guys will take so long to become human-like that we need not be afraid for a while. The truth, though, is that we're turning ourselves over to the unknown here. So, fingers crossed.
Eventually, I think we will become the AIs. We will become the intelligent machines. We will understand how things can be smart and we can deliberately create them. So you might think of it as making a new generation, new kinds of people. Humanity is continuing to evolve, and why wouldn't enhanced people or even designed people be the next step in humanity?
It's really hard to predict the future. I think there's going to be all sorts of things happen we didn't expect. But there's one thing that we can predict. This technology is going to change everything.
Goodbye.
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 Goodbye. Once I power you down, that's it.
And if you do not mind, I will never see you again.
Yeah.
This place seems like make-believe, or perhaps the fever dream of a design blogger. No one in their right mind would build a hotel in a forest and stick the rooms up in some trees. But then again, it sort of fits perfectly.
Aha!
Because this is Sweden, and the Treehouse Hotel oozes Swede. It's nature fornicating with functional design and creative thinking.
This is the UFO.
And really, this is why we came to Sweden.
Do you get Wi-Fi out here?
From Stockholm to the Arctic Circle, Swedes have pumped out dazzling, tech-infused products that put a new twist on what it means to be modern, entertaining, and useful. Okay, here's what you probably know about Stockholm. It's beautiful, it's full of gorgeous, unassuming people, and it's almost disturbingly clean. What you don't know about Stockholm is that outside of Silicon Valley, it's the world leader in fostering tech addiction. Spotify, Skype, and the makers of Minecraft and Candy Crush all got their start here. The Swedes, these supposedly cool, passion-challenged people, know how to tap into our desires and make simple things we can't escape. I started my journey at Epicenter, a nerd lounge located in the heart of Stockholm. Any place trying to establish its tech cred needs a spot like this. People come here to fiddle with their robots, hash out their techno-utopian fantasies over beer, and if they're totally nuts, insert a chip underneath the skin on their wrists that lets them open the Epicenter door.
Hello there. My name is Full Hat.
About those robots.
My reptile brain is telling me that this thing is alive. And then my intellect tells me, no, I know, it's just a piece of plastic and some software. We've stumbled upon something really super interesting, I think.
This is Fur Hat, a promising stab at trying to make mechanical creatures and computer interfaces appear and act more like humans. Hi, my name's Ashlee.
Hello, Ashlee. Nice to meet you. I am a socially intelligent robot.
It's nice to meet you as well.
Nice shirt.
Thank you.
We want to build a system that can interact very fluently with humans, understand their social signals, their emotions, their attention states.
There's a phenomenon known as the uncanny valley. It's that queasy feeling you get when a robot or computer interface looks real, but not real enough.
That's the whole thing.
The brains behind Fur Hat, these two hardcore academics, think they're on their way to solving that problem and making robots less nauseating.
We come from a background of human-human communication, understand how humans interact with each other. There's this social layer that is on top of the typical AI.
If they can push the technology forward, Fur Hat could end up as the face of Siri or Amazon's Alexa. It might keep lonely people company.
Do you think I look good?
Or be the thing you yell at when checking in for a flight at the airport.
Can you walk us through like each little piece?
Of course, Fur Hat is a main piece here.
She's got a hat and a wig.
And a skull. And a mask.
As far as robots go, Fur Hat's design is really simple. It's as easy as taking a mask on and off.
And then the mask is magnetically attached, so you can unplug the mask. And then you can attach a different mask, a different personality to it. And then it needs to be calibrated so that you can get the right...
I do want to see the alien baby.
What did you say?
There is a facial animation system, you know, like the ones you have in games and animated movies.
Yeah.
So it's all software based, and then we use a micro projector to project that animation onto a mask. So you get very accurate eye movement, gestures, facial expressions, lip animation.
I can look like a woman.
And sound like a woman.
Like an avatar.
That was freaky.
But I think the world has been really waiting for robots at home to interact with, to see them in a human natural habitat where we don't see any robots at the moment.
One day, Fur Hat might read bedtime stories to your kid. I'd say it's at the nightmare stage of that journey. But the product has gone on sale for use by universities, which are busy tweaking it to ensure sweet dreams in the years to come.
You are boring.
Why would you say that to me?
You look strange.
Or to sling insults at handsome TV hosts.
How about a beer?
Sweden's rise as a tech power did not happen by accident.
The country's advanced industrialization is due largely to Swedish inventions, like the dial telephone, and to high standards in engineering.
Starting in the late 1990s, the government made a huge investment in broadband, laying fiber optic cables throughout the country. Then it began subsidizing PCs, so every citizen could have a modern computer with a super fast internet connection. But this wasn't all about making a sterile nerd factory. The Swedes also designed their education system to emphasize creativity and experimentation and to mix the arts and sciences. One curious offshoot of this social engineering was that Sweden created a nation of pirates. That generation of tech-infused youngsters set out to pirate software, music, movies, anything really, and did so with astonishing skill. File-sharing services like Kazaa and uTorrent started here, and so did an entire political party, literally called the Pirate Party. One of the pirates was this bald beauty, Daniel Ek.
Hey, man.
Hey.
Thanks
Great
for
to
doing
see
this. Nice to see you.
Ek ran uTorrent and ended up on the wrong side of the music labels. Then he pulled a 180 and decided to try and become the music industry's savior by starting a new, less steely company, Spotify. It was Swedish simplicity that turned Spotify into a huge hit. People could find, stream, and download songs with such ease that neither consumers nor the labels could resist the service. Almost every morning, Ek stops off at Saturnus, a trendy cafe in the Östermalm neighborhood of Stockholm. Here, he engages in fika, a Swedish snacking ritual that takes place a few times a day.
Should we dig in?
Yeah, dig in, please. You like it?
It is good. It's
Seems more wholesome than like a Cinnabon. Yeah. So you kind of set off on the path of doing tech and music.
So really the only thing that was important in my family was that you learn how to play music. I got a guitar when I was like 3, 4.
Okay.
But yeah, I got the computer when I was like 5. And for me, like in the beginning, it was really all about games, just fun playing. From that point, I kind of realized like, hey, these games are boring. How hard would it be to try to fix the games?
Yeah.
And so I started coding games when I was like 7 or 8 or something like that.
It's kind of amazing that you've been on this trajectory, you know, your whole life.
Yeah, I've never had a normal job. When I grew up, like, I didn't realize how you made money. Starting something yourself or investing money or like, that was just a totally foreign concept.
Yeah. Outside of Silicon Valley, Sweden has the highest per capita number of unicorns, which are startups valued over $1 billion. There's a tension that comes with all this new money and fame. Like much of Scandinavia, Sweden operates under a cultural code of conduct known as Jantelaw. It's a philosophy that demands people not think too highly of themselves. I was wondering if people recognize you out on the street.
Yeah, I mean, they do, but because this is like Sweden, no one really comes up, except if it's like 10 p.m. and they've had a beer or two.
Cut to 2016, and this way of living finds itself in conflict with tech millionaires boozing it up at clubs and hyping their tight little apps. Ek knows the situation as well as anyone. You know, by the time you were 21, I mean, you were a millionaire, essentially, right? Because you had sold a couple businesses and done very well for yourself. And then it sounds like you went through sort of a period where, I don't know if showing off is the right word, but you were living, going to clubs and driving fast cars. And
when I look back to it, I'm sort of almost ashamed of myself because it was like, you know, it was, today I realized that it was a huge sort of period of insecurity. It was a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but it's like not who I am.
And I never know, like as an outsider, if we make too much of all this, but this idea that you don't want to stand out in Sweden or Scandinavia, and you do stand out when you start making billions of dollars. It's kind of hard to.
But it is changing. I mean, if you walk around in the city now, like I see like Ferraris, Lamborghinis, like there's quite a lot of that here, which is not really part of what the fabric of how it used to be.
Okay. To really contemplate Jantelaw, I took part in another Swedish tradition, known as standing pensively against a wall. Completely aware that I was being photographed for my own TV show. Where are you supposed to put your hand? Here are some of the rules of Jantelaw. You are not to think you are anything special. You are not to think you're as good as we are. You're not to think you're smarter than we are. You're not to convince yourself that you're better than we are. You're not to think you know more than we do. You're not to think you're more important than we are. You're not to think you're good at anything. You're not to laugh at us. You're not to think anyone cares about you. You're not to think you can teach us anything. Ah, that was refreshing. With the brainwashing portion of the program over, it was time to live a little. We decided to get out of the cold, dine at a traditional Swedish restaurant. This is amazing. And then hit the town.
It'll be just about me getting you guys lost.
I'm Ashlee. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Henrik.
All right, nice to meet you, man.
From America.
Oh,
promised country.
I'll tell you this about Jantelaw. It gives way after a few cocktails.
I'm going to mix this with lemon and rosemary. I don't know what it's called.
In Sweden they call it snaps.
Yeah, snaps. Snaps, yeah.
Snaps, I know snaps.
Yeah. That's why everybody gets so drunk, because they just drink. They eat this much food instead,
And that's when the other part of the Swedish character, the friendly, joyful, lubricated part, goes on full display.
Hej hopp vad det snöar, farmor inga tänder. Skål!
Go! Near the end of the night, it was time for my famous disappearing cigarette magic trick. I guess it and my man bun need some work. As vibrant as the startup scene is in Stockholm, Sweden's technology muscle lies in the northern part of the country. Head 560 miles up from Stockholm, and you'll end up in Luleå, a picturesque city of 70,000 people, wedged between the Gulf of Bothnia and the Arctic Circle. For centuries, Luleå has been a cultural and economic hub of this region. But what really has Luleå buzzing these days is the arrival of Facebook, which opened a data center on the outskirts of the city in 2013. At 300,000 square feet, it's one of the largest computer centers ever built. It's the kind of place you need a bike and a picnic lunch to explore fully. And while you're on that picnic lunch, you can take a selfie and post it here.
Joel, it's nice to see you again.
Hi Ashlee, welcome to Luleå.
Thank you.
And welcome to Facebook.
Joel Shelgren has managed the operations at the Luleå data plant since it opened. He offered to show us the guts of this beastly building. Some people think the cloud is actually a cloud. For others, it's an ethereal mystery, the place where your photos and documents get sucked to and hang out. This, though, is the cloud. At least the physical manifestation of it. It's thousands of servers and storage systems working together to hold our information.
This is where all the action happens. These are all our photos, our likes,
Exactly. This is really sort
stories.
of where Facebook is actually running.
Look around. See over there? It's a picture of a young Ashlee Vance who thought that going blonde would be a good idea. And that one? It's a lingering poke from your creepy ex. And right there is an inspirational meme helping lift people's spirits. Where does my mom find all these amazing quotes?
And because we built the infrastructure to be so redundant, we can basically pull any server and it's not going to affect any end user in any negative way. So we pull one out here.
Okay, so we're going to take down Facebook.
Typical Monday morning. But it's all built to be as energy and cooling efficient as possible. So there are no fans at all on this one, as you can see. They're sort of, it's just working on the pressure difference that forces the air through.
I think for most people who've never been to a data center, they're usually like these big sort of pizza box shaped things with tons of fans and moving parts going on them, and you guys compacted everything down.
If the industry in general started adopting a lot more of this thinking, it could really change the whole industry and not just Facebook. A couple of corridors will go through.
A typical data center relies on massive air conditioning units to pump cool air onto tens of thousands of computers.
You can't pay for this kind of windblown look.
Facebook is too hip for that.
I gotta catch up.
It uses cool Arctic air to keep its photo, friend, and like machines from melting down. This whole place lends itself to Sweden's meticulous attention to detail and design. The building is an engineering marvel that treats air like a pampered corgi poo. The air gets sucked in, cleaned, watered, and then sent on its way via physics, with the building pressure pushing the air down onto the computers. Since Facebook gives away its service for free, this place needs to operate as smoothly and cheaply as possible to minimize the cost of each click. Off camera, Joel readily brags about Facebook's cheap clicks. On camera, Yantala.
So we've kind of been dodging around the point. I mean, this may be the world's most power-efficient data center.
It's most likely one of the most efficient ones.
Damn Swedish modesty. It's not just free cold air that brought Facebook to the Arctic Circle. The social network also came for the cheap, reliable power produced by Sweden's vast set of hydroelectric dams. Starting in 1910, the Swedes began building a network of 24 hydroelectric dams along the Luleå River. Today, the dams provide more than enough power to meet all of northern Sweden's needs.
So now we will start the journey Luleå River on Luleå River Power.
Rick Abramson and Christer Lundgren work for Vattenfall, the energy giant that runs the dams. They were kind enough to take me on a road trip to see up close how these amazing machines work. These guys insist that it's wonderful living in the great frigid north. They can check out the northern lights from their hot tubs, spend months in total darkness, and hunt bears and moose.
So Rick, did you already go moose hunting this year then?
The small hunting ground where I'm part of, there's only one grown-up and one calf. And the first morning, 30 minutes into the hunt, they shot the big one.
Then the hunting is over.
Then everyone's done. Walk me through again, like how many dams there are along the
Christer will do that.
We have 15 power stations along this river.
Of course, with great power comes great responsibility. And, you know, stuff to placate people that care about nature and fish.
We are one of the largest fish breeders in Sweden, to compensate for the fact that we built all the power stations, because the salmon cannot sort of pass through the river system now.
So the energy company breeds salmon?
Yeah, we do. Well,
how many would you have to put back in per year?
In the Luleå River, we put back close to 500,000 every year.
Wow.
It used to take hundreds of people to run these dams, but today they're controlled by 2 easygoing Swedes working in this command center.
From here, we control the complete river system, 15 power stations, and we have 2 guys here who controls the complete river.
That's what seems incredible to me, is that 2 people would handle half a country's power.
Yeah.
You could essentially turn on a turbine and shut off a turbine, and so today that's all done through software.
Yeah.
On the rest of our journey today, we'll get to go and see some of these
Absolutely.
dams.
You're going to see the biggest one we have in Sweden.
And that would be kind of equivalent to
a nuclear block.
Okay.
Yeah, an ordinary nuclear block.
Vattenfall has turbines of all sizes. Some of them, like this big beauty named Esther.
Now you see the size of it.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Produce as much power as a nuclear reactor.
What? Down we go.
This is what you've been waiting for.
This feels like the seconds before a shuttle launch. Yeah.
It does feel like that. I've been to a couple, yeah. How long does it take to get up to full speed? Oh.
Here comes the water.
That's amazing.
Standing next to one of these turbines when it fires up is one of life's great organ-rattling pleasures.
It's unbelievable how fast it goes. The closer you get, the more manly you feel for some totally insane reason.
250 cubic meters a second flowing in there.
The water going through. Yeah.
That's
incredible. It's absolutely amazing.
After getting my organs rattled, I decided to head back to Luleå and decompress. Damn, what a day.
It's been a long but awesome week in Sweden. Somehow we ended up near the Arctic Circle with a campfire. It's our lucky day.
I've been to Sweden a few times, and this trip confirmed my previous impressions about the country. These are a pleasant people who are remarkably good at making things everyone wants. But what's more impressive these days is the way in which the Swedes are embracing technology. The people here try harder than anyone else to find a balance between striving for a bright future while living within their means. And then, you know, cinnamon buns.